forget fiber optics, forget satellites. Long before any of that, a totally different kind of network changed the world. Today, we're going to dive into the original information superhighway. So, have you ever wondered what the internet of the ancient world really was? I mean, what was it that connected entire civilizations across thousands of miles, letting them transfer culture, trade, and truly world-changing ideas at, well, high speed for the time? Well, the answer is probably not what you're thinking. It wasn't about servers and cables. Nope. This network's infrastructure was built out of stone. Its data packets were things like caravans, manuscripts, and art. This was a network built on roads, powered by ideas. All right, so let's break this down. Every network needs its hardware, right? The physical pieces that make it all work. For this ancient web, the routers and servers were actually incredible works of architecture, all designed for security, shelter, and of course, commerce. And that brings us to this, the caravanserai. The easiest way to think of them is like fortified motels built along massive trade routes like the Silk Road. Their main job was simple but crucial, to provide a safe place for merchants, their super valuable goods, and all their animals to rest. But here's what's so cool, and this image just captures it perfectly. These places were so much more than just rest stops. They were buzzing, thriving hubs. I mean, think of a busy airport terminal, a marketplace, and a town square all rolled into one. That's what was going on inside these walls. And these buildings weren't static. They actually changed with the times. So back in the 13th century, it was all about security. You got these fortress-like buildings with huge walls because you had to protect the goods. But a century later, things got a little more unstable. The economy took a dip, and you see the architecture kind of pull inward, smaller, more defensive. Then you jump to the 16th century and boom, they evolve again into these multi-story urban centers called khans, basically becoming the commercial heart of the city. Okay, so that's the physical network, the hardware. But what about the software? What was the killer app that made this whole thing a game changer? Well, that would be the absolute explosion of knowledge during the Islamic Golden Age. We're talking about a massive chunk of time here, about 600 years, from the 8th all the way to the 14th centuries. For all that time, the Islamic world, especially centered around Baghdad, was the undisputed global capital for science, medicine, and philosophy. And the engine room for all of this innovation was something called the translation movement. You had these incredible intellectual hubs like the famous House of Wisdom in Baghdad, where scholars weren't just hitting copy-paste on ancient texts from Greece, Persia, and India. No way. They were translating them, yeah, but then they were challenging them, building on them, and mashing them all together to create something totally new. And the stuff that came out of this period, whoa, it literally changed the world. You've got Al-Khwarizmi, who gives us algebra and algorithms. I mean, the very language our computers speak today. You have Ibn Sina, whose canon of medicine was the medical textbook in Europe for 600 years. Oh, and the whole idea of a quarantine? Yeah, that was him too. Then there's Ibn al-Haytham, who pioneered the actual scientific method, and al-Biruni, who figured out the Earth's circumference with mind-boggling accuracy. This wasn't just progress, this was revolutionary. Now, this flood of ideas wasn't just happening in books or in scholars' heads. It spilled out into the real world, into tangible, beautiful things. So let's check out what happened when all these different cultures and ideas actually collided out there on the trade routes. You know, this quote from the Met just says it all perfectly. It's talking about the art from this place called Gandhara, and it calls it a compelling fusion. I love that phrase. It wasn't just copying, it was a creative remix, a true artistic mashup. Gandhara's location was everything. It was planted right at a major intersection of the Silk Road, in what's now Pakistan and Afghanistan. I mean, that position basically made it the ultimate cultural melting pot, where styles from East and West had no choice but to meet, mingle, and merge. So what did this remix actually look like? Well, on one side, you have this really strong Greek artistic style. You can totally see it in the realistic-looking human bodies, the way the clothes are draped, even appearances by figures like Hercules. But the subject, the story they were telling, that was pure South Asian Buddhism. They were using a Western artistic language to tell an Eastern story. Okay, so let's just pull back for a second. We've got a network of roads and buildings moving people, goods, revolutionary science, and totally new kinds of art. But so what? What's the lasting legacy of all this? How does it still echo in our world today? Well, this is the mind-blowing part. The line from then to now is unbelievably direct. It's not some fuzzy historical influence. The algebra they developed is the foundation of computer science. The scientific method they pioneered is what every scientist in every lab uses today. Their medical knowledge directly shaped modern medicine. And their work on optics? It laid the groundwork for everything from giant telescopes to the camera in your phone. And if there's one single thing to take away, it's this. This network and the knowledge it spread didn't just stay put. As all these scientific works were translated from Arabic into Latin, mostly in places like Spain, this massive wave of information poured into Europe. And what did it do? It helped light the fuse for the European Renaissance and the scientific revolution. Just think about that. When you look at the whole picture, from the stone inns to the birth of algebra, a really simple truth just pops out. The story of human progress is, and maybe always has been, the story of connection. Which, of course, leaves us with a pretty big question, doesn't it? If a network of dusty roads and inns could spark the Renaissance and fundamentally change the world, what is our global, instantaneous, hyper-connected network going to create? What comes next?